Okay, so this week's course is Needwood Golf Course in Montgomery County, Maryland. I believe it's actually just a short distance from Shady Grove Metro, which I believe is in Gaithersburg, Maryland. There's a fairly large park, Needwood, or I guess it's Needwood Park or something. It's right off Needwood Road, that runs off Muncaster Mill Road between, I guess, at the Shady Grove Metro, and it runs down onto 355 and 26 and so forth. And it's actually a fairly decent old neighborhood in the Shady Grove area. It's a pretty nice course. I wouldn't say it's outrageously fantastic course. It's sort of a mellow version of a decent course. Let's put it that way. I believe it's a slope 120-ish course. Didn't have the slope on the scorecard. Oh, there it is. Slope 122 from the back tees. And I think it's a decent enough course. It's really not very difficult, but it's not too easy. It's one of these courses that has a nice rolling layout and a fair amount of trees on either side of the fairway, but the fairways aren't very wide, and you don't see a lot of traps as you go down towards the green. The landing area off the tee is fairly wide, and there's not really a lot of trouble on the course. Although, of course, you can hit into trouble if you are wide enough off the fairway and wild enough in play. You can certainly hit into trouble. There's the hint of trouble in the sense that there are some holes with a slope behind the green. Some of them a fairly steep slope and some dangerous, dense-looking woods behind the green. But I think and to be fair, it does require, I guess, a decent amount of control to play and shoot fairly decently, but it doesn't require a great amount of control to play it okay. So it's a good sort of ramp between a beginner's course and an intermediate course. The holes overall are quite accessible from the white tees. They're a little bit less accessible from the blue tees. There isn't a whole lot of difference on a lot of the holes between the white and the blue tees. Of course, it depends on where the tees are actually placed. The forward part of the tee box versus the back part of the tee box, but in general, I didn't think you can see more than 50 yards of a difference between the whites and the blues. And usually, there were, at least when I played it, the 2 times that I played it, the blue and white tees were separated by maybe 20 yards at the most for most of the holes. So it was quite decent. And the price is not too bad. I wouldn't say it's a great deal. It certainly is not as good a deal as some of the courses you'll find away from the DC area or the Baltimore, but it's certainly decent. And I think that you really just have to consider it as the same price as in the Montgomery County course, in the sense that you have basically a $40 18-hole price, and then there's a roughly $15 charge for a cart, and then anywhere from $15 to $30 for club rentals. And so it can add up. When like I said, I played it twice. The first time I got rained out, and I had an 18-hole rain check. I went back, played it again, and I rented a set of the clubs that they had, the TaylorMade clubs, which were $30. Got 3 bags of tees and a cart, and it cost me an additional $50 to play the course on top of the $40 that I'd already paid for the basic course rate. So it was a $90 outing combined to play the course. So not a cheap walk in the park, but at the same time, not a bad walk in the park. I certainly wouldn't complain about playing it again. Some of the shots were pretty interesting, and I absolutely can say that it is entertaining enough of a challenge, rewarding enough that not too many houses on the course, even in sight from the course. Really, there's only a few houses on a few holes that you will see houses, and it's really not bad a course at all. I don't think it's as anywhere near as much of a challenge as Hampshire Greens, but it's certainly a better course with more of a challenge than, say, half of the Montgomery County courses. I liked it certainly better than I liked Blue Mash. It wasn't nearly as noisy as Blue Mash, and frankly, Blue Mash just really, isn't all that great a course on a fair amount of the holes. I think there's some holes where certainly they were more of a challenge than you would find at Needwood, but I think overall Needwood is a much better balanced course, and it's certainly a better round. There's only the one road that passes by the course that causes any kind of trouble whatsoever. I didn't see any planes. No. One time I played, there were some greenskeepers that were caught on the green when we came down the hill. Caught them by surprise. But other than that, no real interference. And I just think it's a decent round. It's not as good a course as Diamond Ridge, but it's not bad. It's not much worse than Diamond Ridge. So, and I don't think that it really would cause much complaint as far as playing it goes. So I would give it I think a B minus would be a good score for this course. It's certainly a well-balanced outing. You can go out there and try to shoot low if you want to, or you can just play it, just try to work on your game without, having to really worry too much about your score and still get decent scores. It was a really decent round, and it's certainly convenient if you're metro bound. You can always take the metro to Shady Grove and walk there. It's like a half an hour walk to the course from the local bus stop that stops, I guess, just a mile north or east of Shady Grove Metro. Puts you almost right there, and you can walk through the course. And so that's a big thing, I guess, for most DC residents who are metro riders predominantly. What courses can they get to? There are not a lot of courses in the DC area that you can get to by metro or off the bus. There's some, but not a lot, and this is definitely one of them. So a B minus, and I think that's a fair assessment. That's Needwood Golf Course in, I'll just say, Shady Grove, Maryland, just east of the Shady Grove Metro Station.